It's either you lose, and when you lose, you don't lose small.
So so let's say ati uko na 30 million yako unaiona, right? Mtu anakupatia deal ya 100 million. You can find somewhere to borrow the difference. Alafu kisha borrow the difference inakuuma na ile 30 yako yote.
Inakuuma na ile 30 yako. That's why you find people who are doing so well. Wanakuambia hata hawana mahali pa kukaa. It happens.
Hey wadau maze, leo ni Chill Money Vibes with Caroliine Loontubu. I'm talking truths about money and open secrets that people rarely talk about.
But now other people are taking advantage because you are desperate for this job. They take advantage of the fact that you want this job. They put their interests.
Is there a way out?
As long as you are in that business and you want that business, if you try not to do what they want, they'll not give you. So you want to do business.
Now, Caroliine Loontubu is a seasoned entrepreneur and a realtor. Na leo kwa hii conversation, what comes out is the reality of the Kenyan business environment that people always talk about in low tones.
If you are doing 100 million tender, it means that you need to use about 50 to 60 million. So utatumia pesa zenye, utatumia ile 30 walikulipa kwanza,
yes,
and then you borrow the 20 to finance the 100.
Yes.
Sasa kumbuka uko na loan na umetumia pesa zako zote, hoping in 3 weeks utalipwa, ulipe loan na ubaki na pesa na ufanye pia tenda ingine. Pesa ikatikie hapa.
And Caroline's perspective about the concept of starting from the bottom is something you don't want to miss.
So I was imagining, if I'm getting all these tips and I'm getting money and I'm getting commission, it means my boss is getting more.
Na si hiyo ndio appetite.
Yes, sasa si ndio appetite. That's what I'm telling you. People do things not because they know the reward. They do things because they think others are getting value.
I'm your host, Dr. Kingori, and here's another reason to stay subscribed to our channel. Kama uja subscribe maze, this right here is another reason to hit subscribe and turn on the notifications bell. Alafu kama umependa set yetu, our location, nini, this is happening at Wojo Africa, a premium co-working space located in Upper Hill, Nairobi. If you're familiar na your concept ya co-working space, like an office that has been set up for you, unakuja unapigwa rate fiti, and everything you need in the office ama in an office setting has been done for you. You need to get in touch with the team at Wojo Africa. The contact details tumewekea hapa kwa screen.
Na story yako ni interesting. Kwanza, my question of whether you knew utakuwa in business, it comes from a place we come from a generation ya pilot, doctor, nani, right? Do you have that ukiwa shule?
Actually, I didn't have. I could have become a teacher because everyone in my family is a teacher. From my father's side, all my aunts are teachers, and my father was lucky enough to be an agricultural still teacher. So I knew I'll end up being a teacher. And so that's something I fought for a very long time, because I remember after Form 4, my aunt who passed told me that I need to join Tokoto Teachers College. I should go for a letter. And I said no.
Deliberately no?
Deliberately no. I didn't want to become a teacher. Yeah.
So when does the path change? Like, unaona watu, people struggle with, I'm still looking myself. I'm looking for myself. Like, I'm trying to find myself. I want to know who I am. When does this change for you? When do you start feeling like, is it in high school? Like, you mentioned casually, you are in school in a very remote place in Narok, right? Uko na ambitions at this time. Sawa, unajua utaki kukuwa mwalimu. Do you have other ambitions za nini?
One thing I knew for sure is that I'll end up in Nairobi. You see those visions. My sister was living in Nairobi and she was married in Nairobi. Yes. So I knew, I didn't know exactly what I want to become, but I knew I'll come to Nairobi. Yes. But now Kenya Literature Bureau came to our school. They were doing a CSR kind of.
Yes.
And because in our school, no one had done a C+ before and above. From where I came from, they said that if you do a C+, and above. I think it was just a way of motivating students to work hard.
Yes.
We will train you and we will employ you. And so I thought, that is mine. And I worked towards getting that. And that's how I came to Nairobi, courtesy of Kenya Literature Bureau.
And at that time, you don't even have, your ambitions are limited to, we will employ you. Your ambitions ni nitapata job.
Yes, I knew I will go through campus because they promised to take us through campus. In fact, they were paying us to be in school. Yes, they were paying us 7,000 shillings.
Watu wa Juja najua wana pay attention to this very much.
They used to do something called apprenticeship, whereby they took vulnerable students to come to campuses. Then they used to sustain you. So they used to give you 7,000. That 7,000 should cater for your food, but accommodation they used to pay for us hostels.
Whoa.
Yeah, but now along the way, when I was in third year, the program ended.
In third year?
Yes. It was like, I think they wanted to, it's like they went down.
Yeah.
We were called in a room, we were like 400 students, and we were told, your program has ended.
Now, first of all, what are they training you on? Courses that you can only work for them?
Yes, yes. Like for me, I was being trained in graphic design. There are others who are doing printing.
Yes.
They were only training you on courses that they will be able to absorb you. Yeah.
Sawa. So third year mmeambiwa, and I believe your parents don't even have plans per se.
They didn't, because they knew I'm being taken care of. So after they said, remember, every time after closing school, we used to go work for them.
Oh, no holidays.
No holidays for us.
Okay.
So that one exposed us to a working environment.
Yes.
Because every holiday we could go to Kenya Literature Bureau, you work from one department to another. But now during that year, they said, in fact, we should not be going there, because now the 7,000 is no longer there and the school fees will not be paid again.
So shauri yenu.
Shauri endeni. It was like, thank you very much.
So how do you deal with this now?
Now, I was lucky. There are people who dropped. So many. Like in our cohort, I still have friends who drop out because they didn't have anything to do. But I was lucky because my sister is still married in Nairobi. She used to stay in Roiro.
Yes.
So I go to my sister's place, and I used to use a train to come every morning and go home every evening. But sasa hapo kwa school fees, I had to hustle. But remember, I've been working at Kenya Literature Bureau, so niko na skills zile za graphic design. Na azikuwa na kila mtu, now everyone practice. Kitambo zilikuwa very sellable.
Yes.
Yeah, nikapata, there's a guy that I'll never forget called Bet. When I was in first year at Kenya Poly, he was at fourth year. So we were friends. So nilipomwambia job imeisha, akaniambia, by the way, kuja. He used to work, Nakumatt. There was a Nakumatt lifestyle. Hiyo nyumba inaitwa Elvis House. Alikuwa na work third floor. Akaniambia, kuja nitaongelesha mdosi nione kama utapata job.
Yes.
And the mdosi agreed. Mdosi akaniambia, we bora uko unafanya kazi yako nitakupatia 5K.
So umepoteza tu kale ka 2K.
So nimepoteza ngapi?
2K.
2K, niko na 5K.
Na hii 5K ni per month?
Hii 5K ni per month. And I'm still going to school.
Okay.
So nikajua hii 5K, I will not be going to Roiro, because Roiro ni mbali.
Yes.
Nikaamua kwenda wapi? Ngara. Ngara kulikuwa na nyumba za mabati, unalipa 2K per month. My sister gave me the vitanda nini. So si mimi naishi Ngara, natembea asubuhi naenda shule, niko na 3K ya shopping, nafanya shopping monthly, and I survived. Luckily, I got favor from my mdosi Sang. He was doing a lot of tenders to government institutions. So he used to send me, because I was the graphic designer. So I needed to understand the assignment.
Yes.
And we used to make calendars, diaries. So nikaanza kuingia kwa maofisi za watu.
Yes.
Kuchukua hizo orders na kumake sure that Kenya naenda kutengeneza itakuwa accepted.
Okay.
So that's how I survived through my 3rd year and 4th year.
So who's paying school fees? Now that pesa ya upkeep umepata, who takes over the responsibility from 3rd year?
I took the responsibility.
Also,
with my 5K, I was able to take the responsibility of paying school fees. Somehow, nikiangalia, it was too much for me because I was still a child, but I did it. I used to pay 2K, 3K. My mom could send 7K, you get. And they chipped in and I finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very important that time yenye you're going to school. So if you, and I think this is very interesting, if you had gone to school ati ungoje umalize ndio utafute job, you would not have benefited from the experience at 3rd year wakati tap imefungwa.
Yeah, yes. Wakati, I think KLB thing was godly because it was able to expose me. I was exposed to looking for funds at a very young age, and I didn't struggle so much because remember the skills they gave me. You see, like every time I could close school, I used to work at the graphic department. So nilikuwa najua placement, nilikuwa najua kutengeneza kitabu, Adobe Illustrator, all those things I used to know. And now nimekuja kwa kampuni, they are doing supplies. Supplies that time was a big deal because it was during Kibaki. During Kibaki, we used to supply, we get paid, we fill tenders the whole night. It was a whole company, and we used even to get tips. Like personally, there's a time we did something for Biwot, the late Biwot.
Yes.
We were printing his certificates for his farm. He gave us tips of 50,000 because we stayed there the whole night making sure his job is done. So that way I was able to maneuver and do things. And I think it's at that time that I decided I'm not going back to employment. I made a decision that I'm not going back to employment. But along the way, as I was interacting with people, because I became more of a marketer than of a graphic designer. In fact, it reached a point that my boss got another graphic designer to stay in the office because he had introduced me to so many corporates and so many government institutions that I was the person that was in charge of looking for tenders.
Looking for tenders?
Looking for tenders and filling the tender documents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is an extra skill
Yes.
on top of the graphic design?
Yes.
At a time when hata your graphic design bado we ni hot cake?
Yes. Graphic design bado mi ni hot. Bado mi ndio nawaambia tunafaa kufanya ABCD.
Yes.
Na bado mdosi wangu anaamini nikikutuma at a certain procurement office utatoka na tender. So I was like, hey, it's like I'm gifted with sales and marketing.
So busy attender, what did busy attender look like now that ulikuwa immersed in that world? Najua ni kitambo, but what did the tender business look like?
It was a lucrative business, I can say, but it reached a point. We started with, we could do printing alone. Then we were introduced to construction, tender. And then ikafika a certain point hatukulipwa. That's how the company collapsed. Because remember, you start with 5 million. Ukipata tender ya 5 million, unasukuma ya 10 million. Unaget?
Yes.
Ukipata ya 10 million, unataka kusukuma ya 15 million. Sasa unatumia hii pesa yote umepata ukisukuma tender kubwa mpaka tukaenda construction. Tukajipata tukifanya construction tenders.
Yes.
Tukafanya at the Water Services Board. We did some construction, and then we had used almost 100 million, and then the money didn't come out. In fact, tulijenga ukuta na ikaanguka. Hatukulipwa. Sasa pesa yote chini.
Do you know that's how we are having this conversation? Because hiyo ndio story tulikuwa tunapiga na wewe ukaniambia that's the basis of our conversation. Nikajua lazima tulete Caroline kwa show. Hiyo part ya like hiyo inakuita it's like betting, si ndio?
Yeah,
unawekelea unauma. Yes. And then
in business, in fact, if you don't control appetite, you don't know when to stop. Any business person can tell you that if they get a deal of 10 million, they will look for a 20 million deal. If they get a 20 million deal, they will go for a 30 million deal. If they go for a 30 million deal, if they get a 30 million deal, they even want to stretch, because the way God has created human beings is to stretch. It's like your mind wants to stretch to see how far it can go. You get?
Okay.
So you'll get 20, then 30, then 40. You'll want to know how much will I be able to stretch up to.
Okay.
Na hapo ndio unapatanga umepatwa hapo katikati.
So now, are you using cash money? Unajua tenders, the imagination kwa wale wasiwajaifanya tenders, people assume that if you're especially selling to government, this pen, our boys Maragia atakupatia na, let's say, 100 bob. But sasa for watu wa tenders, you will sell it for 200 to factor in for delayed payments, kuchelewa and everything, na pia watu wa kuuma, and you still make a profit. Is that accurate?
Not really. Yes, it is. But look at it that way. This way, sorry.
Okay.
Umeuza kalamu, for example, umeuza kalamu you're 200.
Yes.
Ukiuza kalamu 200, most of the time, an entrepreneur will end up having what is theirs. Because kuna kickbacks. Hizi kickbacks, utaenda kwa mtu wa procurement akwambie, hii kalamu, quote 200. Because normally what you do, you submit 3 quotations from the same firm. Moja atakwambia ka 200, ingine atakwambia ka 280, ingine atakwambia ka. Kwanza, but they normally ask for the price before.
They know the original price.
They know the original price.
It's 100 bob.
It's 100 bob.
Okay.
You get?
Yes.
So when you quote 100 bob as the original price, you'll end up getting 100 bob. Even if you quoted 1,000 and you got the 1,000, the 900 belongs to them, the 100 bob belongs to you. So most of the time, you are making your money. As an entrepreneur, you are working for what is yours. But now other people are taking advantage because you are desperate for this job. They take advantage of the fact that you want this job. They put their interests.
Is there a way out?
As long as you are in that business and you want that business, if you try not to do what they want, they'll not give you. So you want to be in business.
So is that a picture of like your kitambo? We are talking about Kibaki here. So now is that to say, because we discussed this, kuna biashara zenye people open, si ndio? We ukienda kufungua utaanguka. Is it because they know something you don't? In the sense that mtu anafungua hoteli because they know with their connections, they can get government conferences and that can sustain the business. Ukienda kufungua hauna hiyo. Is that to say that for example, the reality of the Kenyan business environment, for the most part, right? It's very hard to conduct business, especially a tendering on merit.
It is hard. Every business has its secrets. Mm-hmm. If you see someone selling gas, there is a secret that you don't know. If you see someone selling land, they have a secret that you don't know. If you see someone selling charcoal, there is a secret. So until you get into that space, get to learn the business and get to learn how they make money. If you go blindly, you'll not make money.
Utaona moto.
Utafunga, my friend.
Ikikudanganya ati demand, I see there is demand here, you will see fire. Yeah, that's why if you want to venture into an industry, you can even go and just be an inaitwa nini? Jitole, fanyia mtu kazi, get to learn end to end. That has been said several times before. Learn how the business is run, how they're able to get money and the secrets behind that business. Because every business has its secrets. You cannot just see a tender on newspaper, apply and wait for it. And no, hakuna mtu atakuitia. He will not come. It is not about saving mwananchi's money. This pen's and I know where to get it for 80 bob. No. You'll even, in fact, wanararuanga. Hautaona. Yeah. So now, I'm assuming you've been to hizo corporate offices, tukirudi hapa, like the gig, like your job, you are in that space now. isn't it easier for you to imagine that, now I know the ropes, your first company ni tendering?
In fact, I tried.
Oh.
I did. I had a company that was doing cleaning and printing. That was, you see how life operate and how human brains operate is that if you have been in an industry, that is your first industry to operate in. If you have worked for someone who is doing filming, if you get out of that company, chances are 80% you'll start a filming company. That's how life is. And I started doing printing. Now, after my boss was not able to fund the tenders anymore, there are those procurement managers who could call. Hi Caro, Dosi kwani ameshindwa kusupply? Unamwambia yes, at the moment you are not able. Anakuambia no, kujia, come for some 50,000, do the tender as you, I will finance it, utakula profit. And I did that for around a year. And then one day I went to Thika. I was going to Thika Power. There was some things I was supplying to them also. And then I met a friend. Now, immediately my boss saw that I could do some marketing. I decided, and because I have these extra tips, napata tip. Nikienda kwa mtu wa procurement, mdosi wangu akipatiwa job, si pia ananipatia kitu. Mdosi wangu nimetoka kwa 5K, nimeenda kwa 30K per month. Nikasema, I need to do now a marketing course.
Okay.
I enrolled at the University of Nairobi, BCom. I started doing a BCom course because I wanted to specialize in sales and marketing. Because now I saw if my boss can see I have something in it, I need to find out what it is that I can explore. Unaget ile tu kujiamini.
Yes.
So I met a friend who was doing real estate. Alikuwa ameajiriwa kwa real estate firm. He was an accountant.
Yes.
Na tulikuwa naye the same class. Akaniambia, why can't you try selling real estate?
Okay.
Ile tu why can't you try selling real estate? Nikamwambia, okay, but I'm doing my own things. I don't want to go back to employment. Akaniambia, how much are you making? Nikamwambia, I make good money because I stay in my own house. I'm able to pay for my own transport. Akaniambia, hapana, real estate utatengeneza 200K per sale.
Na sasa hiyo ushahama Ngara?
Saizo nishahama Ngara, naishi Kahawa West. I went to Kahawa West.
Good vibes.
And I said, it's something I should try. So akaniambia kuja ofisi zetu ziko Thika, kuja ufanye interview. And I went and I was picked. I was told anza kazi kesho. I was not prepared. And I asked them, I told them to give me time because I had some orders that I had to finish before joining them. And I called my mom. I told my mom, kuna kazi nimepata. Wananiambia commissions ni 200 but salary ni kidogo because they were giving me 20,000 per month. My mom told me, if you feel like marketing is something you want to pursue, that is the best place to start. And I said, okay. On Monday nikaenda job.
Yes.
Now nime shift from printing to real estate.
Yes.
At first I thought I will be able to manage both real estate and printing.
Yes.
But along the way nikajua you cannot concentrate on two things because there is a procurement manager who wants to see you and your boss needs some sales.
Yes.
But for the first year I used to sell to all the procurement managers I knew. Nilikuwa naenda nawaambia, by the way hapa kuna deal, nataka ununue nyumba. And almost all of them bought. So na perform pia hapa nimekuwa star.
Yes.
Nimeshine already.
Oh, you tapped into the network you created.
Yes, the network helped me to raise kwa real estate.
Yes.
Na nikapata pesa, nikajua kumbe, na nikapata hadi gari. Nikajua kumbe real estate ndio kuna pesa.
Na hii ni mapema, very very early in your...
that time I was 24.
So
when I was getting a car I was 24. Having practiced real estate I think for 2 years. Nilingia real estate nikiwa 22.
So real estate in this sense they are selling houses.
They were selling houses in Thika, apartments.
Okay. Tunakuja hapo kwa houses. Unasema kitu very scary about your boss. Anasukuma tenda ya 100 million, but then the next time he's unable to pay. Are you saying that you can push such high numbers, like kama 100 million, and there's nothing you keep? Number one. When such businesses wipe you out, like ati tenda mmefanya na mjalipwa, they wipe you out completely. Unarudi zero.
Unarudingi zero. You see what happens? Entrepreneurs live with hope. And then, since you have gotten this job that will pay you, if you are doing 100 million tender, it means that you need to use about 50 to 60 million. So, utatumia pesa zenye, utatumia ile 30 walikulipa kwanza,
Yes.
and then you borrow the 20 to finance the 100.
Yes.
Sasa kumbuka uko na loan na umetumia pesa zako zote. Hoping in 3 weeks utalipwa, ulipe loan na ubaki na pesa na ufanye pia tenda ingine.
Yes.
Pesa ikatikie hapo. It wipes you complete. In fact, inafanyanga uchukue. Unaona hizi loans, hizi za magari, hizi za platinum na zingine.
Yes.
Inakukutanga na hiyo loan na utaenda hata kuchotwa. In life, if you don't manage that appetite, it's either you lose, and when you lose, you don't lose small.
So, so let's say ati uko na 30 million yako unaiona, right? Mtu anakupatia deal ya 100 million. You can find somewhere to borrow the difference. Alafu kisha borrow the difference, inakuuma na ile 30 yako yote.
Inakuuma na ile 30 yako. That's why you find people who are doing so well. Wanakuambia hata hawana mahali pa kukaa. It happens. In Kenya, it does. It happens. And to me, because I've worked in the tender sector, I have seen several people. I can point 1, 2, 3, 4. Completely. Na saa hizo maybe ni procurement manager tu alichangiwa. Kama ule manager alikupatia hiyo tender, for example, move from one ministry to another, upate mdosi mpya hamjuani mwenye hana interest. Unajua what makes people get paid is interest. Everyone has their own interest.
Yes.
So ukipata mtu mwenye hana interest na hii pesa yako, hautalipwa.
Hakuna merit, hakuna ati by then ndio you delivered, this is your money.
Very it's rare. It's rare. In tenders, it's rare.
High risk, high reward, but high risk ni sana.
High risk ni sana. High risk. That's why you find people who do those jobs are people who have been politicians or people who are associated with politicians, because they are people will push for them. You get? You're not just an ordinary Kenyan. You can't wake up and do a tender of 100, 200 million.
Uongo.
As an ordinary person, sahau. You can't.
So sasa at 24, umesha taste like by the way you can buy your own car.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Like uko sawa, you've tasted money. Does this change your idea of a salary? Like kuandikwa job?
Yeah, it changed, because I was imagining if I'm getting all these tips and I'm getting money and I'm getting commission, it means my boss is getting more.
Na si hiyo ndio appetite.
Yes, sasa si ndio appetite. That's what I'm telling you. People do things not because they know the reward. They do things because they think others are getting value.
You sound like you are character developed for thinking like that.
Yes, I was. I was actually.
What happened? Uliingia na Mungu zote.
Nikiingia kufanya biashara, I went with a mindset of I'll be a billionaire. You get? I didn't know at times unajinyima for that business to sustain itself. At times you can, as an entrepreneur, not all the times, other times you have money, you are good, the business is paying itself, it is paying the employees, but the difficult times, unajikuta hata hujajilipa, but you have paid those. So I didn't see that face in my boss era, like mdosi wangu anajinyima, ndiye anilipe commission na anilipe salu.
Wewe ulikuwa unaona tu 100 million.
Mimi nilikuwa naona tu kama mimi nimekuletea 100 million. We ni billionaire. You get?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, by the 10 deals peke yake is only 1 billion.
Yes.
Okay.
But you don't see the other side of debts, expenses. No.
So wewe ukiingia na mguu zote mbili, you took a tender na kufinance, because there seems like mtu akikuja akwambie ni aje, I have this tender, you don't have the money, so I'll finance it and then you get the profit. Sounds like hapa you at a risk, there's a risk.
Hapo sikuwa na risk, and by the way me walikuwa nanilipa, because me, in fact, I was like an errand girl. I couldn't say that those tenders were mine because I didn't have the financial muscles.
Yes.
I was doing their work using my name, but getting paid on the same, which was working that time because I needed money to survive.
Yes, understood.
So you could find them giving me 100,000, wananiambia cool. In fact, my first company, I was helped to register by a procurement person. Yes.
If you yani kama una access kwa system, shauri yako. Like if we are being realistic.
Sahau. For those years that I did that business, kama una connection, sahau.
Hakuna passion, hakuna
passion kwa tenda.
Hakuna
passion kwa tenda. Hakuna passion kwa tenda. Tenda unaendeanga because of what you're getting, not passion. Hakunanga business kama ni passion. Maybe you have now a company, a printing company running as a passion, but now part of your clients is tender. That one you can call it passion. But ati passion umeamka tu uko na passion ya kufanyanga tenders. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo.
And okay, what does your first failure look like? Yes, umezoea tips nini. So ukaamua, let's play with the big boys and girls. So what does your first failure look like?
I supplied, I did some job for a person and then it disappeared.
Ati?
It disappeared with all the money. You see, tulikuwa tunaagana, if you have given me all the money to do the business.
Yes.
Ni mimi nitalipwa. Una get? But sasa to make it easy for both of us, nilikuwa na checkbook. Siyo ni procurement manager na kuachia check leave. Ndio ile siku, siwendi utajua ile siku pesa imeekwa. Wewe unafanya nini? Unaeka check inakata.
Yes.
Umeshika? Yes. Sasa ile siku yeye ndiye alijua pesa imeekwa. Apparently hakukata ile yenye tulikuwa tumeambiana, akakata.
Alikata kila kitu. Wewe umetulia.
Hapo by the way, that's when I stopped. And then now in real estate, my boss on the other side was telling me, if you concentrate in real estate and leave doing printing, you can do very well.
So you decide to focus on real estate.
I decided now I'm forgetting this shit called tendering and printing. Let me focus on real estate.
Real estate.
Yeah.
Then how do they welcome you into real estate?
Real estate, I as a salesperson, I performed well. I don't regret. And I grew.
You grew. Ukisema real estate, you were selling houses.
I was selling houses.
Mnajenga inaisha and then you look for a customer.
Tunajenga. In fact, that time we were doing off plan.
Okay.
Because market haikuwa, watu hawakuwa wamerevuka kasa. Unajua sahi the Kenyan market off plans are not anymore. They are not marketable like when we start. I can say we were the lot that started off plan in Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was doing very well.
That's a strong statement.
Yeah.
Watu hawakuwa wamerevuka kama sahi.
Watu hawakuwa wanajua
kama hakuna pesa watu wajanja.
Unajua watu hawakuwa off plan basically means that you are using clients' money to construct.
Yes.
Saizi venye wa Kenya wanajua hawaizi kupea pesa yao ujenge nayo. Wamerevuka. Ati mtu akupee 2 million na hajaona kitu hawezi.
So lazima wewe ujenge na pesa yako, alafu ya kuja anunue kitu anaona.
Yeah, kuja anunue kitu anaona. Yeah.
Which now begs the question, hiyo kitu, so that means in the construction business kuna kitu imekuja barrier of entry. Hiyo kitu ya ati utaanza na nini, zero from scratch hakuna.
Saizi hakuna. That's why the Somalis have taken up that market. That's why it belongs to them. Si wako na pesa, sijui zinatoka wapi.
Si wanasema ni pooling.
It's like now they are gatekeeping that industry. Ati you are growing up to be a developer, it's like almost impossible. Yeah. That's why wa Somali are the main developers right now. Now our Chinese, because they have resources. Yeah.
No, we had a very brilliant lady on the show, Nisha Kente. Alituambia, the reason why you can't compete with, say, the Chinese, for example, is because wanapata cheap money from their countries.
Yes, they have very cheap loans from their country.
Kama ati 4%.
Yeah.
4% per year, hiyo ni hauwezi compete na yeye na wewe unapewa loan na 17 to 20%.
Actually, it's 20. Yeah.
It's 20% now.
It's 20%. You can't compete with them.
So kama mtu wa biz, by the way, how do you do mathematics na 20%? If you're borrowing, this question, I don't know why I've never found a conclusive answer for this. Ukishapewa na 20%, how, basi where is the business for you? Is that why property iko overvalued in Kenya? Is that?
Yes, property is overvalued, and you find that people are really struggling. People who are doing property struggle doing those constructions because we don't get support from the government, and then the banks are there to mint you, to get, you work for the bank. Most people work for the bank. You end up working for the bank and paying bills, thinking you're in business.
How do you know you are in business?
You know you're in business if you get profits.
Unajua, in our first conversation, pia another reason nilisema we must have you on the show. One, unasema you can have consistency. Unacheza na 20 million every month, una make 20 million every month, but bado hauna pesa.
Unajipatanga hata utafanya collections za 30 million, but deni zako ni mingi kuliko 30 million. Real estate is a very thin line between richness and poverty. It's a very thin line.
Uko tu hapo.
Uko tu hapo
kwa gap between the rich and the poor.
The rich, the rich and the poor, because the operation expenses are very huge.
Okay.
And the loans are expensive. So you find 80% of the time you are struggling. 20%.
80% of the time you are struggling.
20% you have made it. You can wake up in a weekend, for example, you have had an open day, and find yourself with 10, 20 million in account.
Yes.
But it doesn't happen like oftenly. Other times, that's why it is called a speculative business.
Speculative business.
There is, underline speculative.
Yes.
In fact, most of the real estate people, when they go to the bank to ask for loans, it is denied because it is a speculative business. It is not a daily sale kinda business.
So, is there basi, would you say you will enjoy an industry kama real estate because of the thrill of, ni kama, I think Nation did a story ya betting. Wakasema, this lady, and I saw that video, ati this lady ali bet, alikuwa na kauteli kake tu kazuri, ati she is employed like I think 4 or 5 people, whatever, and then ati akaoneshwa aviator ya kubet, akawekelea siku moja kandege.
Yes.
She made over 200k.
Yeah.
Ati akatumana hiyo do ushago inunue ng'ombe. But after 2 days, akapiga simu, they sell those cows because arudi awekele because wanamuuma hapa, right? So now, as in, are you saying it's the same case na tuseme kama property, as in, can I quit like in the 20%? Like wewe ushajua pattern. Nikimake when the 20% yenye kila kitu iko sawa, can I log out then? Like ulipe deni zote, ulipe kila mtu useme, mimi wadau nyinyi endeleeni.
You may not log out because remember, this is something you have done for long. Now the way a human brain operates, change is very difficult. You cannot just wake up and close doors. what you can do, you can now try and manage and say that I don't need growth past here. I just need to maintain. After paying all the loans and all the expenses and all the debts that you have, you buy, for example, one land as you find something else to do on a daily. Yeah, so usiuzange na pressure.
Okay,
Na get?
okay.
Yeah, because unaona ukiuza tu real estate peke yake inakuanga na ka pressure fulani. In fact, I saw the guy Comfort Homes. Akisema kuuza mashamba inakupeanga like high blood pressure kila siku because of sustaining those payments of debts. Yeah. It is a circle that never ends until you are able to manage the appetite. If you manage the appetite, it will help you sober up.
Okay.
Like there is a guy who is doing it very well and I admire him, Fanaka. You know Fanaka?
Of course. Ata nini, their CEO has been a guest on the show hapa.
He has been a guest. Fanaka ndio, I think he's one of the people I look up to. When it will be my time to manage my appetite, I will do like I will do like him, because you find him doing even 1 acre, 2 acres. Yani yeye ameamua, I'm not growing past this. I'm okay. I'm able now to sustain this business.
Oh, I think pia mtu mwenye ali manage and I give him a shout out anytime I get a chance, ni Joram. He's also been a guest on the show. Tulimweka na Purity Kimotho wa Urban Drive kwa Jesse na Joram owns Kenyan Autos. Joram had the opportunity ya kunigonga vizuri kabisa when he was selling me a car, and he sold me that car for, angetaka kunigonga but angenitandika vizuri sana because he gave us the first offer, which was 50k less than all the posted nini numbers. It was a small car, but alikuwa na nafasi ya kunigonga. So I asked him, by the way, ulikuwa na nafasi ya kunigonga, mbona hukunigonga? And he told me that yeye akileta hiyo gari, he had decided that mimi, I just want to make X amount of money in this car, and if I make that, that's enough. So I think that's also your part of managing appetite.
Yeah, managing appetite. Like you have reached a point in your life you don't have debts. You are just looking to survive as you manage your business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. So now, inamaanisha, hey, do you have, when you start making money, I'm very interested in your like growth trajectory. Like, yes, it's always a cycle, but you feel, kuna point inafika unajiambia, hey, by this sasa niko na do. Or how do you balance, you don't confuse 30 million ya clients, sijui kuna taxes, kuna nini, kuna operation costs, and your money. In fact, when it comes to paying yourself, if you have 30 million, you can decide your salary equal 1 million.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. How do you manage that?
Right now we pay ourselves salaries because that is how you are able to manage yourself. You know that you're supposed to earn, even if it's 500 per month or 300 per month. Because ukitegemea kuchota kwa hii ya customer, hakuna, there's no one above you. Utachota uchote yote. So unaona kama ni 200 umejiekea per month, unajua I need to survive with this 200. But it comes after making several mistakes. It doesn't just happen. You get? Unajua hakuna mtu anazaliwa na pesa.
That's a very powerful thing to say. Yes.
Hakuna mtu anazaliwa na pesa. So na si kila mtu ametoka kwenye the background used to talk about money.
Yes.
Like now, when my mom was raising us, every time you could ask for a shoe, sina pesa. Sina. You get? Yes. So money is more of mental than physical. How you interact with money is more of mental than physical. And that's why they say money is spiritual.
Because it's more mental than
physical. More mental than physical. You either have money on your head or you don't have money on your head. kuanika pesa kwa kamera, hiyo si kuwa na pesa. You can, by the way, you find like now people who are able to do these big projects.
Yes.
Utakuta mtu hata ana kitu kwa account, na hata huyo mtu hata kwa simu maybe ako na 10,000 tu ya operate. But that person is doing a lot. So at when will you know that you have money? I think by the projects that you will start investing over time, by the investments that you will start doing over time, but not money in the pocket. By the way, mimi naweza kuambia King'ori, most of the time we operate from hakuna, from negative. Like hakuna going to iko. Because when money comes, unajua kuna pesa ya shamba, kuna pesa ya loans, kuna salaries. So hutaiangalia hiyo pesa kama ni yako.
Utaangalia hiyo pesa kama ni yako.
Yes. Utaangalia hiyo pesa
you have
kama
a dream
ni yako.
car. Especially mtu, and I think this is relatable. Mtu yote anabai gari before age 20, kuna urge, kuna kitu inakuwashanga, inakuboa haraka, so you want the next one, you want the next one.
Me
right?
too, it happened to me.
By
I
the way,
think
for
I
instance,
started with an allion. Yes, after an allion, I bought inaitwa na Honda CRV, inaitwa CRV.
CRV, yes.
Yes, after some time I bought a Prado. But inakuwasha, unataka nikiendesha Prado. By the way, it was last year. I was talking to a friend of mine. Nikamwambia, hii pesa ya mafuta inaniuma sana. I don't know why at my level I am spending 5,000 fuel every day. Because remember, right now I'm maturing. I'm not even in my 20s or even early 30s. I'm heading to almost 40s. Nikaanza kujua, do I need a Gazla to be taking me to work every day and back every day? Nikaambia rafiki yangu, by the way, hii gari nauza. Akaniambia acha jokes. Nikamwambia because nilikuwa naona, unajua last year ndio ulikuwa una realize haya, hata ile salary ulikuwa unajilipa imefanya nini? Imepungua.
Yes.
Because una try kujinyima ndio biashara ifanye nini? Isimame.
Yes.
Mimi niliuza.
But sasa before ufike hapo, unapitisha kama 30 million kwa account, and then mtu anakuja anakuonesha V8 is supposed to be 12 million, anakuletea na 4.
Yes.
You will never get a deal like this one again.
Very tempting. Na uko na hiyo pesa kwa.
Uko nayo.
Usipojua kucontrol that appetite. Usipojua kwamba you need to control yourself, you'll make a lot of mistakes. But luckily, I have learned from people I've worked with before, and I'm still even learning from myself and even interacting, because I'm not defined by the car I'm driving. That's what I learned. You mean, si hata kadudu katafika. Sitaendesha kadudu, obvious, but I don't need a car that will consume.
Your disclaimer is strong sana. Sitaendesha kadudu, obvious.
Hata mwili itakata.
No, but cheki, nilikuwa naambia mtu like Kenya, we are so big on appearances, because in a country like Japan where we import these cars from, right, they are daily drives. Like ile gari ya kwenda job ni hiyo kadudu. Like hizi alto zenye tunatumia sahi kwa cab, hiyo ni gari ya mtu personal ya kwenda job, right? Because of efficiency na utility. Okay? But sisi unataka utoke point A to point B, labda 5 kilometers in a Prado daily. Beats logic. But then again, the perception we have, hata ule mtu hana bado, ana feel at a certain level you're not supposed to drive a certain car. So do you think also entrepreneurs lose a lot in terms of putting up appearances?
Yeah, we do. We do lose a lot, and we spend a lot of money trying to prove to the world that we are doing well. You find someone even going to an extent of taking loans to prove that they are living in a posh place and they are driving a good car and they are okay. But deep down they are suffering.
Okay.
You see, as you're maturing, you learn that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. If you are doing well, you are doing well. If you're not doing well, you are not doing well. And life is about you. But now the way the entrepreneurship and certain industries, for example, my industry, real estate, you need to be posh, because that is what we found people doing. It's not something we were taught. We found people doing that. So we want to continue with what we found people doing. You get?
Okay.
Which doesn't really give value. I feel like those people were doing that because they were not informed.
Yes.
And because maybe they felt like they have more. Remember, many people came from poor backgrounds.
Yes.
And now they want to prove to the world that they made it. That's why millennials, most of us, when we make it, we carry the whole family in our backs. You go back, you construct for your parents, you want to buy your parents a car, you want to educate your siblings, you get? Because you want to prove to everyone that even in your family you did it.
Yeah. Na sasa ukisema kwa entrepreneurship, like you're always looking for the next deal. What does it say about saving? How do you deal with saving? Because wewe unaoperate from, ukikaa na do inakuwasha for what next?
Yes.
You understand? What is your mindset about accumulation? Like, hauna excitement let me go see 1 million yangu, sasa hii si biashara. This is mine. I'm not doing like because when you come from a background of poverty, pia kuna hiyo kutaka
kuaccumulate.
Ilinitandika vibaya sana wakati the first time I'm excited about kuona 1 million. Nikajua pia do pia ukiweka mali unaiona hivi itakufundisha adabu. So what is your idea of accumulation at first?
How I do my accumulation nowadays is not necessarily keeping money, because as an entrepreneur, you may find yourself never having something to keep, because you're always, what if I try this, I get this. So what I do insurance. I make sure that I'm covered for medication, medical. I make sure that I'm covered all those areas, including even after death you're covered, because there is no way utaenda kuweka 1 million as an entrepreneur. It is not possible.
So millionaire ikauntiwi ati ukienda ufinye ATM
unaona 4 million iko kitambo. Me by the time I had 1 million, ati nalala tu 1 million yenye naweza fikia ni kitambo kidogo.
But okay, then basi then one, you've echoed what my first money teacher God Semelango alini teach. Most of the things that you used to save for have been solved by insurance.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's a good point. But then again, doesn't tena ile financial, how do you beat the feeling of kukuwa na do ni unaiona? Cash is king. Ndio hii, unaiona. How do you beat that?
I think you just mature over time, and when you can put in a circle, you put even in money markets. You can have money in money markets. When you need it, you need like 3 days to get it out. So I have money markets. I try as much as possible not to have 1 million lying. This is after doing so many.
It's not working.
Yeah, it's not working. This is after doing so many mistakes. Because you could find everyone is planning for your money. Do you know that? Apart from you, everyone else is. It's like when we were kids, we had those rich uncles wenye tunakasirikianga wa kutusaidia. Because we were planning for their money. Even today, everyone is around you is planning for your money. So usipojipanga watapata. But wakikupata, mtu akikuitisha 10k, unamwambia hapana, mimi niko tu na 5k ama niko tu na 2k. Watazoea. Na by the way, Kengori hana, I used to give even 100k, 200k. Una school fees, sawa, nipe account nitalipa, because I used to have that idle money. Until now I realized having this idle money is attracting everyone to budget for my money.
Hapo ndio money spiritual comes from.
That is now where
people can smell money.
Yes. Let me tell you, kama una pesa hakuna mtu atakupigia hata kutoka ushago. Nikuwekee tu leo hii 200k kwa M-Pesa yako. Watu watatu utawekwa kwa WhatsApp 3 za harusi, 3 za mazishi. Everyone is planning for. So if you don't plan for that money, everyone else around you will get your money apart from you.
Now what happens to ile kitu ya the more you give, the more God blesses you?
Yeah. Yeah, the more you give, the more God blesses you. But you also need to plan on your giving. Let me give you a story. I used to help a lot, even at home. I used to be that person you can call anytime and get some cash. So at a particular period, sikuwa na cash. And I called a person very close to me. I just needed 14,000 to buy glasses. I needed the glasses to, because my eyes had a problem. Akaniambia, na umenizoea sana. And this is someone very close to me. And that was a wake-up call. I was like, yo, I give you 50 when you ask. I give you 100 when you ask.
Yes.
Na nikikuomba mara mbili nimekuzoea. Nikaamua, I don't want this again. I better survive, but I'm covered in all areas that may come as emergencies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Na mistakes zako ni interesting kwa sababu unazipitia mbali but tunazisikia. Unazipitia but tunazisikia. Have you ever made a financial mistake that hata wewe ulikuwa unaogopa? You may never come back from this. And I think when I ask this, I'm curious to know kama wewe umefikanga dead end, na if you ever got to a dead end, how do you make a comeback? And what do you learn from such? Kama umeikuwa na hizo moments. Unaona hizo za wiping out. Have you ever been wiped out kwa your entrepreneurship journey?
I've not reached that stage yet, but niliona naelekea hapo. I made some corrections.
And it was because of unajua umedefine financial security differently. One, kuna insurance, which is a form of financial security, right? Especially when you can afford it. Weka pale helps, right?
Yes.
But beyond that, inamaanisha pia saa ingine insurance inaweza kusurprise, say no. So wewe ukiulizwa, how do you define financial security? Iyo ama ni hiyo tu?
I think financial security to me is being able to cater for my needs and the emergencies that can occur. That is financial security. I'm able to cater for my daily needs.
Yes.
That is food, shelter, transport. And in case I get sick, I'm able to cover myself. In case
yes.
My house catch fire, I'm able to adjust. You get? Yeah. To me, that is financial security.
Hakuna chati, I need to be a billionaire ndio nisikuwe niko sawa sasa. At some point that changes.
There is Sarakabu said, hakujua alipokuwa billionaire. To me, I felt like she was honest. Because unaweza kuwa uko billionaire kwa makaratasi, kwa vitabu, kwa turnover, but kwa mfuko hakuna. Una get?
Oh, really?
Yes. Your company can be doing very well. You are in a billionaires club, but you are still looking for that money. That's why very rich people like the Kenyatas bado wanaamuka kutafuta. Bado Brookside wanaamukanga. Ukiamuka saa 9, by the way, lori utaona nyingi ni za Brookside zikisupply maziwa.
Na ndio nikakuuliza, hakunanga place ya kustop ya kusema hiyo yenye wanaita financial freedom, mi naye lazima ni set. Ati mi by hiyo inaitajwe you set a retirement age. Like from here, mimi I'm not working. I'm working for fun, not so that I make money.
You'll still need to eat hata ukiwork for fun. You still need to eat. So I think it's just sema you want to control yourself at a particular age. Not that utakuwa na financial freedom. I think utapumzika tu ukikufa.
I asked Jimmy, I asked Jimmy the same questions, Jimmy Wanjigi, and he said something. Yeah, in fact, I remember the exact context. Mali alikuwa amekaa, akaniambia, by virtue of the fact that ninaweza kaa hapa sahi, right? I can
Yeah.
eat what I want, but then again as in I can be here because I choose to be here. Sio pressure ya kwenda place fulani. I believe it's Jimmy. Place fulani, that is freedom.
Yeah.
Kwanza anasemanga freedom. So
Yeah.
anasema that is
freedom. Freedom is not, don't amount it to money. Make decisions. The way you say that you make decisions to be happy, make decisions to be financially free.
But you know you are scaring us. You know why?
Why?
Since we spoke juzi, and I think pia hii tulikuwa naongea na Butita, nasema most of us work so that we invest in something else. Like ukiuliza kila mtu, we want to accumulate ndio to invest kwa real estate. Because tunaambiwa real estate ndio iko na passive income. Real estate ndio you're making money for you when you're sleeping. Right? Lakini wewe huku kwa real estate ndio mnatoka mbio ingine haijulikani. So
no, real estate is good, and you can only become rich through real estate.
You can only become rich
through real estate. That's true. You can only become rich through real estate. Because hata ukipata pesa, watu wakipata pesa utaona wanajenga rentals, zinawapatia pesa. Yani it doesn't expire. But at the same time, now getting there, you see, as a real estate person, remember I'm starting and I'm building. It is not easy. And the loans are expensive. Unajua unasema unataka kuinvest. Investing in real estate is good. And investing in real estate, it's not like doing the real estate business. Those are two different things.
Ngoja, at investing in real estate,
accumulating to invest in real estate, it's different from doing real estate business.
Break it down for us.
Accumulating to invest in real estate, for example, the pieces of land we are selling at 350 or 500, after 2 years, 3 years, that land will give you 2 million. You get? But doing real estate business means that I get this 30 million to buy a piece of land. This 30 million is from the bank. You get? I need to pay the bank. You are paying me slowly. Project 1, I need project 2 to finish project 1. I need project 3 to finish project 4. I need project 5 to finish. You get? So investing and doing the business itself are two different things. But investing in real estate, I can recommend it anytime, any day. Even doing the business is good, but make sure you have the capital. Kenye nalemeanga watu ni kuanzisha biashara bila capital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We had Morara on the show akatuambia kuna siku zilimfungukia. He marketed real estate for, I don't know kama ilikuwa ni 2 years without selling nothing.
You can.
Alafu akafunga. Akawachana na hiyo story. Then one time there's a shamba he had alikuwa amefanya, alikuwa amepata amemarket, mtu akamcall after I think 2 years. It was a long period of time. Ati ile shamba ulikuwa umesema 4 million iko bado. After 2 years.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Alafu he sells and gets a commission ya 400,000.
Yeah.
After 2 years. Like when you've given up. So now nikasema hiyo it's a very peculiar concept.
Yeah.
Nikasema nitakuintroduce kwa concept inaitwa sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy inamaanisha umeweka pesa kwa kitu mpaka una feel hauwezi achilia.
Yeah.
Unataka kuendelea kuweka. But then again unapata in real sense it is beneficial to abandon it na ile pesa umeshaweka tayari right, than to continue keeping money, because you'll save more by abandoning what you've already put there. So which begs the question, kwa hizi ups and downs ukisema you'll only succeed 20%, 80% of the time ni kazi ya sulubu, then how do you know you are in the right 80% that kuna siku itakuwa na 20%? How do you know kwa hii mahali inaendelea kuchimba one day it will give? Usiingie kwa mtego wa sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, true. I think it's the passion. You see, if you have, during your lack season, you're able to continue solving problems. to continue making sure that your business is standing, imagine God will come na utapata profit. For example, I can give an example of 2023, 2024. Biashara ilianza kwenda aje hivi. No one is buying, no one is buying, no one is buying. But come 2023, August, ikaanza tena kuinuka. So imagine kama ungefunga ikiwa imeenda down. So you need also to have the stamina. Kama unaweza kushikilia biashara yako kama auingishi kitu, then that business is for you. Ati kama miezi 2 umelipa rent kutoka kwa mfuko and you are okay and you are still appearing in your business, that business is for you. Kuna watu wakilipa rent from their pocket 2 months wanaachilia biashara. Na mwingine atakuja eke hiyo biashara hapo akulie ile marketing ulifanya.
Hiyo example ni nzuri na pia ni dangerous. And acha ni mwanike hapa. My brother comes, ananiambia he's in the transport business, but ananiambia anataka kuanzisha ka hoteli on the side mtaa yao. Kenda kachukua, I think his budget was around, was it 800 or something? Sijui between 500 and 800. Kamwambia like uko sure nini? Kamwambia why not reinvest kwa hii yenye unajua hii ya nini? Okay? Akakuja akachangamka kuna hoteli. So ikafika place he was paying, hivyo vile unasema, analipa from the pocket. Then something interesting happens. Anapata, like they've been supplied with products kama nyama nini, so he's operating in the negative. Na bado, he's also emotional about the business. Oh, I've started this thing, this is mine nini. Namwambia, wewe, mi unajua niko na I told you so yangu ina load hapa. Niko nayo ready. Na ingojanga where he will give up because I already so that, okay, not that I don't support him. I support him in transport because najua he's a star huko. But then he yenye ameingia, naambia hapana. Okay, from where I sit. You understand? So now, ukikuja, he paid, akapata amesink deeper than the original money he invested, and eventually he loses
the whole business.
So hapo ndio kuna sunk cost fallacy.
It's because he was doing a business that he doesn't understand. Remember, I've told you, every business has its own secrets.
If you don't know the secrets,
don't do that business.
And you can't
volunteer. If you identify a gap in a particular industry, volunteer. Go and tell someone that I'm willing to work in this organization even for free for 3 months. If you feel like I'll be adding value to you, just give me transport. Try and learn that business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ndio ujue kama uko na nyota ya hapo.
Yes. Si ati ukiambiwa maji iko na pesa uende uweke wholesale ya maji. You'll not make money.
How do you know when you're not lying to yourself that ni ukweli basi, nimeona vile, si hata wewe ulisema you knew that kwa procurement 100 million I'm going.
Yeah.
Na ukaona moto hivyo, si ndio?
Yes.
So still that formula kidogo iko na hitilafu ya kimitambo.
Yeah, iko na hitilafu, but entrepreneurship, I can say it's a calling. Kuna kitu tu itakusumbua, fanya hivi. Na utajipata tu most of the time you are leaning towards entrepreneurship. Hata ukipoteza, it doesn't mean that you don't lose. You lose. I've told you that you may find that 20% of the projects are the ones that are giving you the profits and beyond the profits. 80% of the time, utakuta kwamba you are balancing. You are trying to balance the business. Haimaanishi unaenda loss. Inamaanisha ile pesa unapata kupitia hiyo biashara ina make biashara survive. Meshika, you have paid employees, you have paid rent, you have paid projects, but huna extra.
Now what happens to ile kitu ya pay yourself first?
Pay yourself first.
And then employees wajipange.
Employees wajipange. Eventually, I'll grow towards that. But most of the time as an entrepreneur, hutajilipa na unajua hujalipa. Inakuanga si rahisi. But how you pay yourself first, if you can be able to do your premiums first. kama insurance premium, your sacco, unaget hizo ndio pay yourself first. Si ati pay yourself salary first. Yeah.
Or paying yourself does not necessarily mean the money you are pocketing.
The money you are pocketing, no. It means that your investments and what you're working towards are paid first before you pay the money, the salaries and everything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does your story end differently if you don't have access to the system? Because the system changes your mindset in terms of how you interact with capital, right? How you, as in ile masomo. It's not so much about what you learned in school. It's about how you interacted with your environment, right? Does your story change? Because there is a very high likelihood that kama ungewahi access your possibility, you would probably be a very average person in terms of your mindset na kufikiria about do.
Yes.
Right? So in this sense, it means hii kitu ya ati just soma alafu uende ufanye job like employment, it means you've signed yourself to a certain amount of money, to a salary.
True.
You've resigned to a salary.
Yeah.
So does this mean that if you ever, can I authoritatively say that if you ever want to access money, it's so much about how you play with connection, not so much about the knowledge you have gathered.
It's about the people who know you, not even the people you know.
Gor pia alituambia hivyo.
Yeah. It's
the
about
people who know you.
Yes, it's about the people who know you, not the people you know. Because the people who know you can link you to an opportunity, but the people you know maybe do not know. Everyone knows Ruto, for example. But does Ruto know you? If he gets an opportunity today, will he call you?
You know him, but he does not know you.
Yeah, he doesn't know you. So work on the people who know. Interact. Every time you get an opportunity to interact with people, take it seriously and be kind to everyone. By the way, people who connect you to bigger deals are not even the CEOs, mostly even the gate man. Unapitanga mahali unaambiwa, madam, by the way kuna mtu alikuwa anataka ABCD na nikupatie namba yake. Unachukua namba only to call that person and you find that that was your destiny connector. So let everyone, I normally say, let everyone around you get to know what you do. Because anyone is capable of connecting you to a person who is looking for what you are doing.
And that qualifies a statement by my friend, anaitwa Collins, from Muthaiga Gardens. Shout out to him. He told me, money comes in different currencies, but the greatest currency is relationships.
Yes, relationships. Oh, guard them. Guard them with your heart. Na ukikosea mtu, don't shy to say sorry. Yeah, relationships are key.
So now you experience your sales and marketing, now that this is branching out, and watu wa insurance, na waelewango mpaka walinikosea mahali na nilisema I'll never talk about them publicly because I know how hard they work.
Oh, they do.
Kuna mahali by the and I said I'll never mention nini hiyo ni yangu na wao. Na waambianga in person, but I can't talk about it.
Yes.
So now brings us to the question here. Nasemanga ni hard because I know how hard it is for them to convince people to buy the things they need, okay?
Yeah.
Which wewe kwa sales na marketing, which is one of the toughest jobs I know, sindio?
Yes.
What do you learn about the concept of a customer?
Kenyan.
Yes.
Kenyan.
There is a very good distinction. The Kenyan customer.
Kenyan customer, right now they are very informed. Before someone comes to you to purchase, even the insurance, they do research online. Yes. So they just need a confirmation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they just need a confirmation for you to confirm that whatever they are looking for is what you have.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, they are attracted to prices. That's why kukiwa na discount, Quickmart kuna jaa. You get? That is their language.
Yes.
Yeah. And then give them room to bargain. Unajua ukipatia Mkenya tu room a bargain.
Yes.
Ana feel listened to.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you have to give them something at a higher value, explain to them why. Why should this water cost 100 and not 50 shillings like the one I usually buy? Mwambie si hata unaona hii chupa. Una get?
Yes.
So Kenya and trust, mostly they work through referrals.
Okay.
By them Kenya akitaka kubai kitu hata utajua through your conversations.
Yes.
Mtaongea tu na msee akwambie na by then nataka kubai gari. Yes. Nikibai gari ABCD iko poa. So ukimwambia unajua so and so mwenye anauza gari, he will tend to trust you more kama amekuuzia before. Na get. So that's why ukideal na client A, ukimhandle poa, possibility ya huyo client kukuletea clients wengine wawili ni very high.
Yes.
Yeah, cause Kenyans talk. Si wale watu wanabaingi ati in secret. Ati umebuy, for example, your car umeficha. Before atabuy hiyo gari, the whole village will know. Like, I'm looking for a car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Na kwanza hapo umetaja kwa magari before ni kuambia hapo kwa profits. Hapo kwa magari. People I respect, the person who sold me my first car, decent gentleman, anaitwa Sam Wanjema. By the way, I think he goes by the same profile. Alafu Urban Drive, Jesse na Purity Waithaka na Joram. Hapo. The time nimeitoka outside that circle, my friend Alex knows. Naona moto mpaka sasa. I have not moved on. I have not nalia mpaka sasa. That's by the way, that I endorse.
Now that is Kenyan culture. You 100%. Still go back to the person who treated you well.
Yes.
And maybe all other cars are the same, but there is something that Purity did for you that the person you bought from maybe currently didn't do. Na ni kitu kidogo. Attachment. Kenyans customer are attached to brands.
Nilikuwa attached to my first car sana, and then I think Sam alikuwa at that level. I think they closed that showroom down, but now he's an agent for Urban Drive pia on Ngong Road. So at that time mimi sikuwa hata najua when I buy a car nafaa nikupe do kwanza before transfer ama utransfer nikupe pesa kwanza because and then I find that ile gari as in when I'm buying a car kuna watu wanamtrust, they had sent him money, we tutafutie gari ya hii pesa, you will recommend.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
And then my experience with Jesse when he sells your car Urban Drive, ananga hizo kuzungushana za showrooms and stuff. He has a very strict distinction ya business. Ni vile he doesn't talk on camera. I wish ningeweza kumget kwa show. We tried to get him and then akatupatia Purity who did a great job. People love that episode.
Yeah.
Na hiyo. So now hapa kwa profit tukifunga. How do you balance sasa umesema greed in terms of pesa ya customer, right? But then again kuna greed in terms of profit. Like you're selling something. You've struggled for 80% of the time, so umefika hapa kwa 20%. You want to sell something. How do you manage your greed in terms of the margin you want to make? Ndio usikuwe una revenge for the 80% of the time you've been working. How do you balance ati this is my profit, nataka kuuza hiki tu hivi na sita kugonga. How do you balance that?
I think
exploitation.
Not exploiting people. That is personality. Exploitation by the way ni personality. Kuna mtu atakuexploit tu, not because even amepanga kupata mingi. It's because that is their character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is character.
Hiyo si neither.
Hiyo si biashara. Huyo na mtu mwenye atakugonga agonge mwingine, unaget.
Afunge hiyo sako.
Na huyo mtu amepanga kugonga. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Na hayuko hapo for long. Because for an entrepreneur, mostly you don't look at that particular sale.
Okay.
I'm sure hata wakikuzia gari ya kwanza hawakuwa wanaangalia hiyo sale. Walikuwa wanaangalia na sio mtu atakujia gari ya pili na ya tatu.
Okay.
You get. Okay. An entrepreneur tends to be long term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Caroline, I've enjoyed this conversation.
Oh, thank you.
Sincerely. And thank you for carrying it out, Ivo Vipoa. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. I have personally learned a lot. And to our audience, najua watu watajiuliza Caroline anafanya business gani. But now I have to come na full disclosure kwa sababu ya conflict of interest. I decided tutaleta Caroline kwa show in a meeting for a company I'm associated with. Of course, najua mmeona Petmol Shelters kwa hii group. She's a director there. So nikasema, Caroline, how do we have a conversation bila conflict of interest ya ati tuna advance agenda ya pet mall shelters. Hiyo ni separate. Nimwambia would like because I liked how she talks in the meeting, na nikamwambia hata I think nervousness imeisha, si ndio?
Yeah.
She's not done this at the interview before. So for full disclosure, it has nothing to do with pet mall shelters. It is purely good vibes for her journey in business, and I trust you've also learned something. Personally, I've enjoyed this conversation, and I think it's important that nimesema pia you are associated with pet mall.
Yeah.
Na sikuwa nataka conflict of interest ikwe ni kama tunataka kupiga story because
pet
of
mall.
this.
Yeah.
And thank you for respecting that, and thank you for agreeing to come even na disclaimer ya we will not talk about
The
pet mall
business.
shelters.
Yeah. Thank you.
Asante sana.
Thank you for having me too.
Karibu
I've enjoyed and I'm not nervous anymore.
Asante. Asante sana.
Mmefunga.